Welcome back to the Different Spectrums podcast. If you haven't listened to our show before, we have conversations around mental health and we dabble in humor. Yep.
Just a
We
little
also,
bit.
see, there you go. Waiting for it. We also try to help people understand, identify, and normalize their emotions from movies and shows, specifically certain scenes. You've probably already watched these movies and shows, but we're going to use a different perspective, and one would say a different spectrum. Dumbo, nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's an actual Beanie Baby. Whoa, big
Beanie
spender over there.
Big spender.
It's got the tag on it and everything.
It's got the tag.
Yeah.
It's the,
He's gonna
the
sell it
Gucci.
later.
Legit.
It's the Coach tag.
How old is that?
I just bought it the other day at a gas station.
Oh,
It's a gas station beanie bag.
I thought it was a collectible you had over the years.
Oh man,
I
it's a
found it through a
collectible.
hole.
Oh,
Yeah, I got that, and then a little bit of meth at the gas station.
mm.
And moving on. Jesus. I'm your co-host for the show, Spencer. We're joined today with our special guest. She is a licensed clinical therapist. She is an old school track star. We'll say that now. Yeah.
The runner. Forrest Gump.
Run.
It's Vicky, everybody.
Hey guys, welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. It's our show.
Welcome.
I'm back.
We're welcoming you back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's back after like a 4-month delay.
Oh yeah.
It's been a minute.
It's been.
Yeah.
It was good, but we're better now. We're healing. We're on the healing train.
Yep.
Yep. You lost about 200 pounds, maybe. What happens when you get rid of people in your life? About 200 pounds.
200 pounds?
I don't know how much he weighs.
It's an idiot.
150 pounds?
Who weighs 200
my
pounds?
I don't know. Your
God.
ex. Your ex.
Jesus Christ. All right.
I'm sorry.
I don't know, 205? So he'd be like 5
Yeah.
pounds.
I was close. 200 pounds. You lost 200 pounds.
Something like that.
Okay.
Anyways,
such a
back
douchebag.
to the show. Not having just a conversation here. We have our you're just an instigator. You're an instigator, dude. I have to say it. I'm an instigator too.
It's okay.
I do the same thing, but you do on a whole other level where you're like, what? I didn't know. Okay.
I did.
It's our licensed clinical therapist. He's going to be a doctor, which I'm always scared to say because it's just sometimes I'm like, really? Doctor?
Mhm.
All right, fine, fair enough.
I got the gloves and everything.
Ugh, you had them before you even got into the program.
Yeah.
It's Nazir, everybody.
Hello, people.
I love how you were about to do a finger gun and you're like, oh, can't point it at the screen. Nope. There we go. Gotta be safe. Anyways.
This is Jeff Hardy.
All right. Nazir, tell us what clip we're gonna watch and from what movie.
Okay. We're watching Antwan Fisher.
There you go.
We might watch 2 scenes. We'll see YouTube lets us get away with. But specifically, we're going to watch when Denzel Washington helps this young man that's in the Navy, goes to therapy. And he didn't want to go. And Denzel's like, okay, well, you ain't got to say nothing, but you're going to sit your ass here until you talk.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happens. They just sit there. And eventually the young man opens up. And that's the scene. He starts digging into some deep stuff. Later on in the movie, he starts getting better, healing, goes through some, works through his trauma, gets in a relationship, starts to be vulnerable and have emotions.
Mm.
Gross.
Yes. And then
Your
Denzel's
girlfriend's going to hear this.
Good. She already knows. She knows the deal.
Yeah.
She signed up.
Harsh. That's harsh.
Turn that off. Love. What? What's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. He already told her he's putting a baby in her last episode. So
I did. I did.
Really?
Well,
Yeah,
it's
we've
because
already
everyone's
talked about
having
it.
babies, so I mean, we might.
Yeah.
She's next.
I was like, yeah, you're next.
He's like, what the hell? Join the party.
It's a theme.
I want to be with the crowd.
Yep. We're trying to fit in. We're camouflaging.
Yeah.
Yep.
Getting women pregnant. That's what we do.
So there's the scene. Scene before that, Denzel freaks out on him because the young man freaks out. What was his name again? Derek something? I just sent it to y'all. Derek Luke?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Sure.
the dude who plays Booby Miles on Friday Night Lights. He also is the therapist in 13 Reasons Why.
He was also in a Tyler Perry movie.
Yep. He's in a
Which
couple
one?
other, like, right.
I think he was in the one with what's her fucking name? Jesus.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
Remember
very
that one?
specific. I know
Remember
that one.
The one with
Yeah.
the black woman.
He's like, yeah, that one.
It was one of the sad ones.
There we go.
All of them.
Yeah. Black trauma boy.
Oh,
So yeah.
God.
Slight trigger warning for folks that don't like yelling in the first scene. We're allowed to show that one. The therapy scene is quite peaceful, actually. They're just kind of chopping it up, talking. Trigger warning if you're going to watch the entire movie, because it's a lot of heavy stuff. So don't watch that unless you're like in the right mindset to watch that. A lot of violence, domestic violence, assault, stuff like that. It's intense. All right, Spence, you got any updates for the people?
Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Whole deal. TikTok is at 705 followers, I think, at this point in time.
Okay.
So just 300 more, and we can actually put a link up to our link tree on our profile. So 300 more. And we actually have one of our posts is at like, I want to say like 100,000 views or something like that. So we're getting
Gotta
there.
get it up there.
We're figuring it out.
And that's without paying, fools. That's right.
Yep.
Marketing.
That and a lot of
Marketing.
Viagra.
Get to the scene.
Okay, let's get to the scene. He said you gotta get it up, so I don't know what
See you next week. Seaman Fisher. Right this way. I understand it's not your first time here. You saw Dr. Williams?
No, he saw me. That's your wife?
Yes. Have a seat. I understand you like to fight.
It's the only way some people learn.
But you paid the price for teaching them. You want to talk about it?
About what?
Whatever's bothering you.
Why something gotta be bothering me? Why, because I jumped on a white boy? Something must be wrong with me. Send him to the psychiatrist. Nigga tried to kill his master. He must be crazy.
You looking for a discharge, Fisher?
I ain't looking for nothing.
That's where you're headed.
If I'm out of the Navy, I'll just leave.
Unauthorized absence.
Yeah, that's what the Navy calls it.
Running away how you handle your problems?
I don't have no problems.
Where you from, Fisher? Where'd you spend your childhood?
Cleveland.
Parents still live there?
I never had any parents.
They deceased?
I never had parents.
That would make you a medical miracle, Seaman Fisher. Where you from?
I'm from under a rock.
Okay. Okay. All right, I'm gonna see you next week.
I ain't coming back.
Why not?
Because there's nothing wrong with me.
I agree with you there. See you next week. See the receptionist on your way out.
Next Wednesday, 1400.
Yeah, send him in.
Don't your hands off me, man.
I thought you may have forgotten your way here last week, so I took the liberty of sending an escort team for you.
You may be able to make me come here, but you can't make me talk.
Thank you. You're dismissed. You don't want to talk to me? Let me lay this out for you, son. This is how many cases I have, okay? I don't have time to waste. Now, I get 3 sessions only to make an eval and a recommendation to your commanding officer. You know he wants to throw you out of the Navy, don't you? Now, you can sit here and you can not talk to me if you want to, but our sessions don't begin until you begin talking to me.
I got nothing to say.
Okay. And we'll sit until you do. I got a whole lot of work to catch up on. We can sit here every day until the day I retire. Doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter to me either.
All righty.
What about the brig?
What about it?
Send me to the brig.
Here's the brig right there. Lock yourself up. What do you know? Time's up. See you next week, 1400. Some chips? What?
I ain't say anything.
Thought you said something.
I was just clearing my throat.
Okay. Maybe you're coming down with something.
I'm all right. Just wanna...
Just what?
It's just a waste of time sitting here week after week. It's wasting time.
I don't want you to waste your time, Antwan.
So what you want me to say?
It's not what I want you to say. It's what you want to tell me.
Maybe you can start by asking me a question. I don't know, get things going.
I can do that. You said you come from under a rock. What do you mean by that?
I don't know. It's the first thing that come to my mind. What you think it means?
Well, it could mean that that you feel under pressure, that you feel a weight pressing down on you, that you're in the dark, that you're alone. You said you had no parents.
I had parents.
Okay.
Only 3 sessions, right?
Only 3.
My father's name was Edward.
So you knew him?
No. I didn't even know his last name.
You know where he is?
Yeah, I know where he is.
You ain't.
He went to his ex-girlfriend's house. They got into an argument. She killed my father.
Where was your mother when this happened?
Behind bars.
I see.
I was born in prison 2 months after my father was murdered.
Why was she confined, your mother?
I don't know. All I know is what I told you.
So you were turned over to the state?
Yeah. The state placed me in this orphanage. It was supposed to be until my mother got out to claim me, but she got out, but she never claimed me.
How long were you there?
2 years.
How does that make you feel, Antwone?
I don't know.
Come on, you must have had some feelings about it. What did it feel like?
Rainy days.
Like rainy days? Okay. Why is that?
You know, in Cleveland, it rains. Not all the time, but to a kid who wants to go out and play it seems like it rains every day. But kids expect it to rain sometimes, but for one kid, it rained too much.
Okay.
You want me to come back next week?
Yes, I do. You ever try to find her, your mother?
No, sir.
Okay. Next week.
Thank you, sir.
Who's next?
So, Dr. Davenport sent him to the gym? Hit the punching bags? Ain't that what you prescribing? So why are you here? You feeling under pressure? You feel like a rock is on top of you? Come on now, speak the hell up. You better make it snappy. You only got 3 sessions coming. What are y'all looking at? What you looking at? You feeling sick? You need a healing? You need a healing? Do you need a healing? Huh? Do you need a healing? Some of y'all sick-ass sailors need to come back after working hours. See, that's when a good Dr. Davenport, he'll be laying his hands on you. Or he may have a book in there that may have the answers to all your problems and all your questions. Ain't that right? Ain't that right?
Would you like to step into my office? Are you finished?
I thought I was just getting
Let me
started.
tell you something, son. It may have slipped your mind, but you are addressing a superior officer. You understand me? Do you understand me?
Yes, sir, I slipped up.
You better believe you did.
No, sir, I mean, I slipped up when I talked to you.
What?
3 sessions, right?
That's correct.
Can't be flouting regulations.
That's correct.
Well, what do I do, Commander? Because I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
All right, and we are back. So we just took a look at the scene, couple scenes, and hey, gotta love that Denzel Washington. Am I right? Gotta love him.
I love
That
him.
man. He
Pretty
just.
good actor.
Oh yeah, pretty good. He's all right. You know, he's okay. He has his moments.
Okay.
I love how he
Sarcasm.
always, like, in a lot of movies, he always has like the glasses with like the straps on. There's a few movies where he's had those. I'm like, that's his style.
It's a style.
Good
It's
for
the
him.
old soul.
Old soul.
Yep.
But yeah, very dramatic scenes that we just watched. Did not expect his dad to get shot right there. I was like, oh, okay, that just came out of nowhere.
Well, that just happened.
Wow. Like, oh, okay.
Well, he did.
All right. Well, okay.
Oh, how's your
I
mom? Well,
thought it
she's in
was
prison.
she's in
Man.
prison, and my dad was shot with a
He's dead.
shotgun, which by a woman that just was like, wow, all right, and I'm closing the door now. Like, okay,
All right.
I guess that's all right. If that's
That's
how you
Cleveland.
get down in that neighborhood.
It
Well,
says
great.
Cleveland.
Yep, just shoot
Oh, yeah, he
people in
did
the
say
chest
Cleveland.
and close
Damn.
the door. Didn't even unlock the chain, just literally kept the chain on, shot him, and then
Bloop.
anyways, I thought it was interesting, the 3 sessions that that Denzel has. Only 3 sessions. I think both of you can kind of relate to that. You might have a limit on what your clients can, how long they can actually see you. And I'm kind of just interested to hear both of your opinions on what you think of that. Like, would you want more sessions? Obviously, with people that kind of need them a lot more, but would you want to, like, if there was a requirement to only 3, would you want to push that more, or do you think like that's a good number overall? 3.
So in the military, it might be a little bit different. I think maybe it was 3 just to see if he was okay to continue working. But maybe it was only he got 3 just to, look over some stuff. What Colin told me is, when they leave in the military, hey, you good? You didn't kill one, right? And then they just let you go. He said the exit interview is terrible for the therapy stuff. Oh yeah, that's what Colin said about that. Moses said the same thing as well for his exit interview. That's my other boy. It was done from the Marines. But I think that might have been 3 mandated because he had messed up. In my place right now, it's a 4 to 8. They get between 4 to 8 sessions. National average in college universities is right around 5 sessions is the norm that people use. Some it's like 3.5, some it's like 4. It's between 4 and 5 sessions. Because you get some people that show up one time and then that's it. Then I get some people that I see them like 15 times in a year.
Never leave.
They never leave. So it's really kind of everywhere. There's a lot of material out there saying, that 4 to 8 is probably prime real estate where they're good. 4 to 8 sessions, you can do a lot of good work. 3, it's tough to do a lot of work in 3. And if you're doing trauma work that he needed, that's not enough at all. That's nothing.
Right.
That would be be more harmful. 3 sessions for someone with major PTSD from childhood trauma. Yeah, not good. Vic, I don't know about you and your work, if there's minimums or maximums y'all got.
So for me, where I work, I'm not doing individual therapy right now, but I do intake. So I do eligibility determinants or post-hospital discharges. But me personally, 3 is too short. That's too short for anyone. But like you mentioned, you might get a client, it might not be a good counselor therapist fit, and you meet one time. I've had clients cry on the first session. So it just kind of depends, like, are you guys getting in there? Are they open? Are they reserved, guarded? And everyone has a different situation. So you don't know what you're working with until you kind of get the meats and potatoes. That's not what biopsychosocial. So we're gonna answer, my intake is like that's session 1. We're gonna go through and address everything because we don't know if you got medical stuff that's impacting your mental health or vice versa. So it's like we had to get the information and then we're gradually getting into what brought you here type of thing. So 3 sessions, that's too brief. I kind of agree with now it's like maybe 4 to 8. Sometimes you get that client or consumer that's just like dependent. And usually
I got him.
from what I've been told is the first session you prep them like, you prep them for, the end during the first session. It's like, I don't always do that per se. But you do have that conversation with them in the beginning, maybe by session 2 or 3, like, hey, like, this isn't a forever thing. Want to get you to a point where you can be, stable and have coping skills and be able to use these things outside of therapy so that you don't have to have me all the time. But that makes sense.
I need to start doing that more often with my kiddos at the university. Man, we got 3 cents.
They're gonna freak out.
And they don't
Somebody
start
actually
till
like
you
that.
talk.
Yeah, they don't start till you talk. They don't start till you shut the fuck up. Because that's all they do is talk. So they don't start till you go quiet. Then you get to 3. Actually, that math don't add up at all. I'm confused now.
Jesus. You're just adding and subtracting at the same time. You get nothing.
Yeah, you get nothing.
You stay where you are at all times.
Yeah. Try deep breathing. Good luck. May the odds be forever in your favor.
Hey, you got trauma? Just breathe. How about that? You ever think of that? Stupid.
Yeah. You got to take them deep breaths too. Okay. 3 is not enough. Deep trauma, any of the stuff that he's talking about, not enough. To do a quick assessment to see if like you're stable enough to like go do your work, 3's fine. Because you're just making an assessment. You're not actually technically doing therapy. You're just assessing. So I think it's a little different assessing versus therapy. But what Vic was saying, man, I feel like it's like 1.5 sessions, maybe 2 sessions before you even get the full intake and know what's going on. With a lot of my neurodivergent kids, Spence, shit, they might not even get comfortable like what me and Serena and Don were talking about until it's like session 4, 5, 6. And then they start like talking.
Right.
At the university level, that's not good because you got to pump them out quicker than that because there's so many students. If they're paying for it, then it really doesn't matter because it's their money. So if they slow roll it, they slow roll it.
I was gonna add, and Spence, that's another determinant too. Unfortunately, a place where I interned was partial hospitalization. So we would run kid groups, adolescent groups, adult groups. And I kid you not, this is for a profit. So they would check their insurance. And if the insurance approved 12 days, they would intentionally try to keep the individual there for 12 days.
Yep.
And that's doing more harm than good if they don't need to be there.
Yep.
Right.
So that's another factor. But for the purpose of Antwan Fisher, he's been evaluated. Is he still going to be stable? Is he good? Is he mentally fit to, hold these?
Is he going to kill one of these white boys? Like what? He don't like white people, so
that's a problem.
Does not. I see a white boy again. He did. Like I was just trying to get some groceries. Like I don't know.
It's like I was just walking my dog.
My bad, dog.
Hey, I ain't saying he's wrong. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying it's a little aggressive.
Yeah, you hold that in.
Yeah. Just hurt him a little bit. Doesn't mean you gotta. Don't kill him. Just hurt him.
There's a little stab. A little stab.
Let's get a really sharp pencil and just.
We should get Serena for this pod because she's used to the trauma. She like hurting people.
Stabbing, with her hatchet.
Hatchet.
Yeah,
it was a whole thing in the last pod.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Is she Jack Nicholson? I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hatchet, that's one of my favorite books.
That was one.
Read in 3rd grade.
Yeah, middle school for me. I think it was middle school. They made us read like Hatchet.
Really? They made you?
Yeah, it was like a requirement.
English.
You had to read it.
Damn, I like selectively read it on my own. Must have been bored.
I never selectively read anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you read it to me? Great, thank you.
I didn't read a book for real until I was in graduate school.
Jesus. Took a while.
Yeah, I was like 25 before I read my first book. It was intense.
You're like, oh, this is what people like.
Yeah. Everyone would be sitting there during reading time in class and, reading on the book. I'd just be staring at the pages like, oh, this is stupid. Even in college.
Else.
Same thing in college. People would be like reading or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to look around.
In college, was it still like a pop-up book? You're like, yeah, I like this.
I like turtles.
Make it move.
Jesus.
Anyways.
Twan, okay, so we talked about the sessions. And then Spence already did some of his stuff. Vic, so I know you had a few things that you wanted to chat about. What's on your list? What's on your number one?
I think for me, I wrote down suppressed anger and ranking. So you have Antwone that's in the military.
Yep.
So he's mandated, you have to go to therapy because you're displaying these behaviors and it's a problem for us. And he's like, I don't have a problem. You guys have the problem. It's not me. It's y'all. And so now he's been mandated. The guy who's providing the therapy has a higher rank than him. So he's already coming in, pissed off and guarded and just like, well, you're my superior and I'm being told I have to open up and do therapy. I'm being told I'm a problem child within the system. So for me, it's like, how does that really work? Like, I think I would feel the same way. I think I would be pissed off and guarded. And I'm like, I'm not telling you shit because you might get my black ass kicked out of here.
Very true.
And it seems like at that time, maybe in his life, like that's the only thing that he had control over was him being in the Navy. And then the anger, it's like, obviously he is angry, but it's been suppressed anger, and that's due to the trauma, unresolved trauma. And you can tell he wants to talk about it, but then he's like guarded. Like, if I open up to this guy, what's going to happen?
As he should be. As he should be.
I'm vulnerable. I don't want to be vulnerable. I want to stay in my little safe haven and keep doing me. I don't want to change. Change makes me feel, So for me, that's how I evaluate the whole situation. Like he's feeling attacked. So, he's under the spotlight. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I agree. I know because I was looking at going into the military as a subcontractor, or even joining. And so you would be automatically an officer. So your rank would be higher than pretty much most folks with your masters. And you can make some bank if you go into the military and sign a deal. If you stay in there at over 10 years, you're talking like money on top of money on top of money.
You said 10 years. I'm like, ooh.
I mean, but that would just be your job. I mean, you would just work as a therapist for them and you would just good money. After, I think, year 6, it increased astronomically, the pay.
Are you active duty?
I mean, you're in the military, so technically it's active duty, but you're only designated for counseling. So you would be stationed at a base, and then you would just work with everyone on the base. Yeah.
I wish I knew that.
Those
years
folks,
ago.
They don't get deployed. Oh, you can still sign up. Anyone with
That's the thing. That's the fucked up thing, though. It's like, are you taking that roulette gamble? Like, ooh, you can end up anywhere, and
you could. They can station you anywhere. You don't get to choose. You do have to do basic training, but it's like a very, very easy version, and it's less time. And then you just work. You sign a 4-year or 6-year deal, and then you can keep re-upping it, and you get paid as a social worker like in the 80,000-90,000 pretty quickly.
Are you getting paid by the Army right now? What the fuck is this? This is a recruitment video?
Well, see, the reason why
here.
She was talking about the rankings, so I figured I'd go over
it. I thought about it, Spence, but not from like a therapy standpoint. Like, years
still, though, he's like, yeah, you make money on money on money on money.
Money on money.
You get to have like all these cool little sippy drinks, and then you get to just go to places. Shut the fuck up, dude.
You get a little pistol. You pop.
I like this patient. Pop, pop.
Oh my god. Oh goodness.
I would love to see you slap somebody in the military. They'd beat the shit out of you.
Oh yeah, I'd be dead. Yep. 5 white guys beating the shit out of me, but what happened? He failed.
Oh my god.
I don't know what happened to him.
He shot himself. He shot himself.
He slipped.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was a quick thing about the military. Jesus. I would be scared to open up as well too. That's why a lot of counselors don't want to open up to the therapist that's inside athletics, because they feel like they're going to just gab to the coach. So that's why it's kind of safe, but then it is really not safe because it could impact their scholarships. It could impact, their money, their future pro prospects. If you're mandated, you're worried that, that counselor is going to say some nasty shit in the notes, and then the judge is going to get it. You're going to lose your kids. People look at social workers when we're doing counseling is like we're your kid snatchers. I mean, that's what social workers are labeled as, is kid snatchers. Because, we're going to write you up, and now we got you. There's a lot more backstory to that too. Unlike a lot of racist things social workers and white women used to do when they were taking Native kids and black kids from their families. There's a whole lot of nasty stuff about social work.
We get into much more detail in the Atlanta episode. So if you want to go back and watch the Atlanta episode, go for that.
Yeah, it's true.
See what we're doing here? We have to promote ourselves. Stop promoting the army, jackass. We have to promote ourselves.
You just did it. I actually forgot. You know how the end of that show, the white couple like tries to kill the kid and they drive off, and well, that's what that guy did in that Tesla out in California or whatever. He drove it right off the cliff.
Yeah, his family.
Yeah, they all survived.
And then they all survived. And he's going to jail for life now, idiot.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that scene though.
Well, that's a good thing. They all survived, but talk about the trauma.
Super lucky that they lived.
Unfortunately, in real life, the actual lesbian couple that adopted the black kids, they actually did run off of a bridge or something, or in the ocean, and they
had
all
5
died.
or 6 kids. Yeah,
and they all died, unfortunately.
Jesus Christ!
So Atlanta, they actually
the kids with you.
Yeah, they're like, terrible. We can't do this all in the same world. We hate this place. And the kids are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Don't include me in this.
I was just watching cartoons, chilling, eating mac and cheese.
Some social worker told me. It's fine. Whatever.
I know. So
we're going to it.
I mean, it's fine because these are longer pods now. So if we get sidetracked, it really doesn't matter. Only time it matters is because then I completely fucking forget where we left off.
Social workers, racism.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, it's a thing. The stigma and all that stuff. So I can get not wanting to open up. They have to trust you, and then you got to do your best not to break that trust. If you break that trust with one athlete, I assume, or one military person, that's it. Your name is dead. Your name is dead, and they're not going to come to you. No one's going to open up to you. You'll be taboo. So I know that very well, working so much in athletics or small schools. It's all about word of mouth. And Spence knows, he's seen all the kids coming up to me at the old school. If my name was trash or they thought I was telling everyone shit, then no one would come. No one would
be near you. Yeah.
Piranha or pariah. Not piranha.
Piranha. I'm going to eat you. So how do you kind of maneuver away from that as a therapist? Trying not to be, you want to help your students, but at the same time, you also want to make sure that they're getting the help that they need, right? So how do you kind of maneuver that, especially if they're athletes or anything like that? Do you talk to their coaches? Do you talk to anybody who might be a little bit higher up than the coaches, or do you kind of just keep it with the student unless it progressively gets worse or anything like that?
So I'll take that first because I work with a lot of athletes. It depends. If they're mandated, which I did get mandated athletes, a lot of them is usually for behavior and alcohol use or drug use. Some of it was for disrespecting women. I usually get yes. There's some of the baseball boys too, though.
Baseball and hockey. Yeah.
I would get the letter. I'm like, hey man, I need to have the coach involved in some of this to give them updates that you're at least coming to sessions. That's it. I'm gonna have you write it in the contract in the what the hell is it called? Not letter of consent, release of information for the coach. that, hey, I can tell them that you're attending. Because the coach knows you're coming to me. I need to be able to report it. That way he doesn't kick your ass off the team. I'll get that sign. We're good. His coach will be like, Nas, I don't need you to tell me anything. But like, they're going, right? Said they're going. Everything's fine. They're not going. You need to bring their ass into my office. So that's usually where we go with that. Most of the time, you don't want to have any signatures for coaches because you want it just between you and your client. But sometimes when you know there's a lot of issues, behavior issues, drinking issues, fights, yeah, you need to have more people involved. If it's an eating disorder, you need to be linked with the nutritionist that's through athletics and the athletic trainer because they're the ones that are with them all the time, and possibly the lifting coach. That was my go-to. I would have a release with at least 3 people usually if it was an eating disorder. But other than that, no releases unless they were mandated for violence or drinking and eating disorders. Other than that, it's just me and them. And you push them, you talk, you build a bond. Maybe there's medications, supplements, send her to the nutritionist, right? There's a bunch of different stuff. Being a big boy helps me with trust because there's always respect because I'm so large. So they're like, this guy's going to kill me. I'm like, yep.
You just do the sumo stance like
from the Replacements, which we did a pod on if you want to go check it out.
Hey, there you go. See, look at that.
Nandiska. Just rips off my pants wearing a big ass diaper.
Just start eating eggs. Why is he eating so many eggs?
Oh god.
I'm bulking. Okay, it's all Replacements references.
Yes.
What about you, Vic? Have you ever had to get other people involved with things?
We're talking from like a coaching or student athlete standpoint, or just in general?
No, just in general.
I will say, the second university I coached at, unbeknownst to me, we had a love triangle incident that almost ended fatal for one person.
Damn.
And I was unaware of it. I was the only female staff as well. And it just would have made more sense to involve me. I could have like intervened or pulled people aside. But we had an incident like that when I worked at Eastern. We had a girl that was on the rise with ESPN. She had been homeless in Detroit, had cancer twice, and
Jesus.
She really struggled. Like there was times I had to like pull her to the side, like, look, like sis, you're on the full ride, like you got it made. But because her trauma wasn't addressed, she came in with all this pressure. This perceived, you have to do this and do that, and you're giving this money expectations. But college athletics is very political. It's about money. It's about image. So if you're not holding up to your end of the bargain, we have a problem. We got to talk here. A young lady ended up walking away from her scholarship, and she's doing God who knows what. But I think
happens.
Looking back, like I wish I had the counseling skills that I have now. Also, I wasn't in a counseling program then, but I was just using what I had for a bachelor level. She really needed to have intensive therapy, like trauma therapy, before she even walked onto the team. I had to petition someone right, like going into Christmas. Like I had a lady come in and she came in by herself and she had previous suicide attempts and things like that. And I had to consult my supervisor, like, hey, I'm doing this intake remotely from home. How do we do this petition? Because I'm not physically in the building. So sometimes it's like you have to do that breach of, confidentiality to protect the client from self-harm. So things like that. You got to be comfortable being a therapist. Like, I remember being in my counseling program and there were like other students that were afraid to say, are you going to kill yourself? And I'm like, if you can't verbalize that and practice that, you should not be in this field. Every day I ask that question. Have you ever tried to kill yourself? How would you do it? If they say yes. So it's things like that. Like, I never got anyone mandated. We don't do mandates where I work.
Yep.
That's just not a thing. It's like we prefer them out. They're not appropriate. That's not what we do. Um, but we do often have to kind of like put our foot down for certain things. It's like you got to kind of triage people. Like, okay, do we send you here? Then if we send you here, then we got to tell certain folks about this. You know, to protect you and keep you safe. So it just kind of depends. But I've never. Oh no, this is probably like 20. I don't know, 2014. There was a girl at my alma mater. And I had to talk to my coach, and I was like, "Hey, like, I want to talk to your athlete at that conference. Her head is not in the right place." And I was like, I said, where she is collectively right now, I wouldn't trust putting her on the 4x4. She's not stable enough. And he's like, he's trying to win this event. And I'm like, she's got bigger issues. She just told me she's like self-injury, like self-injurious behaviors, like cutting herself and having suicidal thoughts since the fall. I'm like, how did you let this fly over your head type thing? So um, she ended up getting injured and she didn't finish her last year. But, sometimes the coaches just don't understand. And you have to be these kids' advocates and break it down like, hey,
Yep.
we need your help. We can't do this alone.
Yeah, it's true.
So
if that happened at the university that I was working with, and then with athletes, and there's like some intense stuff, I'm like, hey, I got to get a signature now. I got to talk to this coach because you're talking about killing yourself, or you know you're not eating and you passing out and shit, and you fainting from not eating your eating disorder. I'm like, no, I got to get other people involved because now you're on a one-way track to dying. I've had athletes where the friends will bring them in, and I'm like, man, why the whole group, why the half the team just bring you in? Well, I guess I tried to kill myself. What's I guess? Well, I was drunk playing on the train tracks. You mean to tell me the team found you on the train tracks and they took you to coach, then they brought you to me, and then I got, I went home and then I got a shotgun at home. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
We're doing therapy. We're going to do some meds. And we're going to try and keep this thing locked down. And, with a lot of that stuff and some help, they end up staying in school. I was actually shocked. I was like, there's no fucking way this kid or a couple other kids make it. They did. You give people a little bit of talking, some support through coaches. They can do it.
Yeah.
The train track one was scary. Yeah.
Yeah, that's old school.
I kind of sort of did. I get a couple of those every once in a while. I'm like, have you ever tried to kill yourself? Well, and it's the awkward pause. I'm like, so yeah, I noticed you kind of hesitated there. There's some sort of pause. Like, let's talk about that.
Yep. It happens.
Yeah.
Spence at St. Mary's, them trains were everywhere. So, I mean, that's just what they told me.
True. Yeah. It's
weird way.
Crazy.
I was like, most of the trains and over by St. Mary's are going slow as hell. So I don't even think you would die. Just would
the conductor's literally like yelling at you, like, "Hey, what's going on here?
Please leave,
please. I just want to get home, please."
Oh shit.
Can I just say though, me personally, I think that when people do it in such a public, like, I don't think anybody should kill themselves, but at the same time, once you add other people to what you're doing to yourself, I think that's just really fucked up because you are making their life miserable as well. Like now they have to think like they just killed somebody, even though you took that into your own hands. Like there were people that, run in front of trucks or buses or anything like that to kill themselves. It's like, why do you have to involve other people?
You just traumatized a whole bunch of innocent people.
Yeah. Yeah. And just for you to act selfishly. That's what I just think. I think it's a selfish thing once you especially involve other people into it. Now, if you want to get help, that's one thing. But I think once you're doing it in such a public way that, like you said, once you traumatize somebody else, like their whole life is fucking probably ruined. Because how can you get over that? Like,
Yep.
But yeah,
it's true. That is very true.
Yeah.
That suicide, people do it for many different reasons. They see it's the only way out. Some say it's selfish to do that because it's going to hurt their family, their child, their loved one, right? It could hurt their friends, their teachers, right? I mean, suicide is not uncommon on college campuses. It's actually pretty high. And then to do it in a public display where you run out in front of something, or maybe you threaten that you're going to kill yourself because your partner, or you did the 13 reasons why, and you wrote a letter to all 13 people on why you contributed to me killing myself. That's pretty messed up. I will agree with that. Adding other people to it is a whole nother. Because what if they crash? Now it's a bunch of people are dead. Like, why would you do that?
Essentially, it's in a way, it's like if you're drunk driving, right? You are responsible for if somebody else gets hurt. Like, that's your responsibility. It's not the other person's. They were just, driving home sober, and then you decided to do that to them.
Absolutely.
It's the same way with people that want to involve others in them trying to harm themselves.
I've actually never thought about it like this. Because I've had multiple students like, hey, man, I'm just going to walk out in front of the bus on campus. I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. A bus driver's life is fun.
think, and hear me out, I think when people say stuff like that, like I had someone a couple weeks ago say, yeah, back in 2018, I laid down in front of the road and someone pulled me to the side to save me. So one, you're doing that for attention. That's your way of seeking help. But maybe people who are thinking of having that pain or end of life inflicted on them by another party is their way of like, hey, I'm not doing it to myself, but I want to end this pain, but I don't want to be
I can't do it.
The person responsible. I don't want to be the one acting on the intention of ending my life. So if it's done
passively
from a second party, then okay, I'm out. So maybe that's people's reasoning or thinking that way, like, oh,
I have no idea.
It could be.
I'll just jump in front of traffic, or I don't know, something like that. They're not going to be responsible for it per se.
Yeah, even if you jump from a building, it still terrorizes everyone in the building and stuff like that. I never thought about it like that. On all the people that are hurt
on the sidewalk who've witnessed it, or like if you land on somebody's car and they're in it or anything like that.
So the trauma. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So this is public record, so I can speak on this. But Purdue University had a trauma last semester, and it was national news that these boys were playing video games, and one boy beat the other boy. So the other boy, this is a trigger warning for anyone. So if you want to pause this because it's extreme violence, then pause this and just skip like 2 minutes ahead. 2 minutes ahead. Go ahead and skip. So the one boy gets in trouble. The one boy gets aggravated and agitated. So the other boy walks into his room. And while they're on Discord and playing games with each other with a bunch of other friends, he walks into the kid's room, it's his roommate. He gets a little pocket knife and he stabs the boy in the head and neck multiple times, killing him. So this happened at Purdue University, like I said, last semester. Pretty intense. The trauma from that reverberated throughout the entire school. I mean, we're talking school vigils. We're talking the RAs were traumatized from the blood everywhere. We're talking about the students on Discord. Friends. I mean, I'm still working with people that knew the young man. Right. I mean, there's tons of kids that knew him. There's tons of kids that knew him. Like, because he's from Indiana, right? Going to Purdue. I mean, it's intense. So the follow to that, Spence, was massive. Massive. So if it was a suicide, it's going to be still some of the same trauma and fallout. I didn't think about it like that. But in those dark moments, obviously that was murder. In those dark moments of suicidality, you're not thinking about anyone else. You're so lost in your darkness. Right. I guarantee you there's no way, because that other stuff is all about empathy and not wanting to hurt others. I'll have to look at some statistics to see. Statistically, women usually use less lethal means. Yeah, it's less lethal means. Pills and cutting, things like that. Usually less lethal.
Men are using more fatal means like
firearms,
guns.
Yeah, firearms and like legit tragic things. So those are a little bit more intense. That's why you have to take them very seriously. Anyone that's bipolar, you have to take this very, very seriously. Depression meets impulsivity and mania. Boom, that's when the suicidality happens.
Opportunity.
Yep. And then you always have to check for means, intent, planning, research. My boy the other day was like, "What you mean research?" I said, "You looking at ways to kill yourself?" Like, what do you mean? Like, you Googling shit? I'm not going to give you no ideas now. Are you Googling shit? Well, no, I'm not Googling stuff. I may have thought about some things. I said, yeah, as long as you don't Google nothing, we're okay.
Yeah. Don't even check your phone for that Google search.
Yeah. Let me see your search history.
Uh-oh. Next time, go in incognito mode. All right.
Yeah.
Incognito.
Hey, all mine is Taco Bell, Pollo Loco, Panda Express, Pollo Loco.
Pollo Loco. How many Pollo Locos even have around?
It's a scene from a movie. I forgot. I think it's all about the Benjamins.
It might have been.
On Friday. He's like, man, what's your speed dial? And it was just all Pollo Loco. And Pizza Hut.
Jesus. I don't know. You can always remember a food scene. That's for damn sure.
Oh my goodness.
You're not wrong.
Cornbread. Can I have your cornbread?
You can't.
Yeah. You know, wait a minute. You ain't gonna give him your cornbread.
He might. Yeah, suicide is intense, man. FY, just go ahead and drop it here. Suicide hotline's 988. You don't have to text the whole entire number. It's just 988. You can text or call. If you're at a university, again, you just call their number. It's usually 24 hours. It'll send you to a call service. There's other crisis lines you can call that are usually closer to you as well. But when in doubt, 988. If you're legit going to hurt yourself in the moment, then call 911. They come get you. And if you have a loved one and you're worried about them, you call 911. They'll go do a mental health check. They won't get arrested or nothing, but they'll go do a knock and then see if, are they okay? A wellness check.
And that was to add on to that. At least where I live at, the police have been trained to, recognize certain symptoms that people might, display and say, okay, we're not going to take them in for booking. We'll take them to the hospital.
Yep.
So that's great that, law enforcement started to acknowledge some of that stuff and, be like an advocate for individuals who have mental health issues. So
on college campuses, they're trained very, very well on the mental health side. As much as they end up helping us hospitalize students, they know what the deal is. They know what's going on. That and the ambulance, they know how to handle the students much more because of the training. School mandates the training, I think. So the trauma with him, let's skip into the trauma with him. Later on in the show, you're going to see some stuff with him getting abused in the orphanage. And he has like these PTSD flashbacks, it's intense. I don't remember if it was just physical abuse or was it also sexual. It was
sexual too.
I thought it was sexual too. I thought so. So it's pretty intense. So trigger warning for the show itself. So he's got a lot of work. You wonder why he's so mad at everyone. I think the saddest thing in that scene, what makes me want to cry is, I can feel it now. He said, in Cleveland, it rains a lot. And for the kids that just want to go outside and play, it just rains, and it rains too damn much. And for me, for that kid, it rained a lot. And he's right, it rained a lot. So now he's talking about the assaults. He's talking about the loneliness and isolation. He's talking about the damage. The friends are all gone. Right? Oh, damn. Phone's going off.
I feel like I'm waking up.
Blood pressure. Oh, yeah, he's dead. Yep.
Oh, God.
That's the bell ringing.
Very, very intense. And that's why he gets so mad at the doctor, too, because he finally starts to get his trust. The sessions are over. He's like, hey, read these books. I've done that. Read these books. Do these exercising. Go, you want to murder someone? You ain't got no plan or nothing like that. You say, but maybe let's go punch this punching bag and let's figure out some other ways to get this shit out. And that way I can work with your mind where you get this angst out. But how sad is that? Inside someone that angry is always going to be someone that traumatized. Hands down. Has to be. You're not born that angry. and miserable unless someone's taken it from you or the world's taken it from you. For some people, it rains too much. And I think that was the best part of the scenes. I don't remember hearing that from when I watched it before. Trauma's a son of a bitch. I don't care what color you are, what gender, all that stuff. It fucks with you. It can cause early death, ADHD, OCD, personality splits, horrific relationships, poor boundaries. Shit, you could go my way where you just keep everyone at a distance and you only have like 3 friends, maybe 2. And you're like, I don't even trust you, dirty motherfuckers.
Right. Damn.
Shit.
I know who you're talking about, son of a bitch.
What about you?
I knew it.
Yeah. Colin too pretty to be dirty. He ain't one of pretty boys.
What the fuck ever. You're too damn strong anyways.
I made a friend. It was the same friend from the gym, and we was talking, and I said, yeah, my boy Colin, he built just like you, you know. Oh, he takes steroids? I said, no, I don't take steroids. I showed him, and then I'm on the weight. He looks at. I'm showing him a picture of Colin. Colin's like, you randomly showed a dude a picture of me. I was like, yeah, it was kind of weird, wasn't it?
Showing him off like he was your husband.
Yeah.
Look, see,
he just had a baby too. That's my baby.
That's my baby now. Damn straight. They're not steroids. They're enhancers. Right?
Supplements.
They're supplements.
Yeah. I don't know how we got onto that one from trauma, but okay.
Your fucking friends.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to lay off the meth.
Dr. Nazir, everybody.
Dr. Nazir. Hey, don't knock it till you try it. I take that. That was full joke sarcasm. Full joke sarcasm, people. Full
He's
joke.
not joking. No, I'm joking.
Oh, now they're just confused.
Smoke some meth. I'm not joking.
But the trauma side, what are y'all thinking about that? Well, shit, since we just said meth a few times, that'll lead to some intense and heavy drug usage to help you dissociate from all those negative feelings. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, people, you know, well, I like drinking this and that. You like that because you like dissociating. Like, I don't care. Do what you want to do. Have some fun. But when you're doing it constantly and you're just like out of it all the time, well, now you're dissociating and disconnecting from things. And the opiates or drugs, right?
So avoidance of sitting with those intense feelings and working and processing through it.
Whatever it is. Yep. Like that one. Here, I'm boosting this up again. Like the episode we did from Mo when he's drinking the lean. Purple drink.
Too much pressure.
Yep. So, what are y'all thinking about when it comes to that trauma scene and him talking about how it affects humans? Specifically with brown people.
That's just a whole other topic.
It is. Yes, you're right, Spence. We didn't even address the racial stuff. Who knows what he may have experienced while being in the military as a black man.
Facts.
True.
If there's been any sort of hazing or just being singled out in general, or just being black in general, day to day. So, as we saw in some of the scenes, I'm saying white boy and calling the one black guy, I don't know if the guy was biracial or not, but calling him Uncle Tom and him having to pick a side, are you white or are you black type thing. Basically, can I trust you? Or are you one of them? Or are you gonna help a brother out? You're gonna be on my side, or you're gonna be on their side.
You're right.
So that I kind of, that goes along with that trauma,
Who do
and
you
he
trust?
just kind of puts on this big tough, guy facade so that, he can protect himself from other people hurting him. I'm gonna hurt you before you can hurt me.
Yep.
So
it's true. Very true. Protect yourself. You ain't gonna get me. I'm gonna get you first, motherfucker. And that's exactly how you would say it too, with that tenacity. Yep. So before you even think about it, I already done got you. Tough place to be. I've had some clients there. I've had a lot of humans with relationships that'll break up with people or start some shit because hey, they're gonna leave me anyway, so I might as well get rid of your punk ass and right. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's the first good man or good woman that you've ever met, but let's just throw them away.
Kind of beat you to it first.
I got you to it before you left me.
I won loneliness.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Spence, before I cut you off, go ahead.
No, I just think that Black trauma is a lot different because Kendrick Lamar's last album, he talks a lot about this. Talks about how just especially Black men, if they're sexually abused or anything like that, they always try to hide that pain by wearing chains or just being like overly masculine to try and show that they're not hurt by this or by what happened to them. And it's always an interesting thing because then he even goes back to when, well, trigger warning, goes back to when in slavery, when slave masters like made slaves like rape each other and things like that. And then it all is just this psychotic torture that's happening. So it's not just a physical thing, it's also a mental thing as well. And how it's even bleeding down the lines of people today and how just like, especially like family members sexually assaulting like other family members is such a big thing in the Black community, which it's unfortunately it needs to be talked about a lot more and not just pushed aside, because that's just you're just keeping the trauma going throughout your bloodline, and it's just never going to stop until you make that change, right? Until like the new generation makes that change. And actually confronts it. And he even talked about how his mom kept asking him if his cousin touched him or anything, and he kept saying no, and she didn't really believe him. And then that got into his head of like, did he or anything like that, even though he didn't, right? So and then he finds out that his mom was actually sexually assaulted as well. So that's kind of the thing. And then it just keeps on going and going and going and going and going. And so you could relate that to here, especially in the foster care and things like that, because a lot of the times you get with people who don't have the best interests. They're looking for either a paycheck or they're looking to be a predator themselves. And so you really have to put that mask on, and you can't show feelings, and your anger just keeps on growing and growing because you're not letting anything out. You're just keeping it all bottled in until one day it just pops.
You end up hating yourself because you allowed it to happen, and then you blame yourself, and it's intense working with them folks. And with the young men of color that I've worked with that have been assaulted, physically, it's intense work. Trauma therapy, and sexually, those are even harder. And that might not get brought up for maybe a year or two if I know them. For most of my young men, about a year, maybe year and a half is when they'll bring that up. Every time, year and a half. Every time if it's there, it's a year and a half. And how often do we get to do a year and a half? That's not often. You get 48 sessions, you're not getting to that. But after I get to work with a lot of folks for a long time, then some of this other dark stuff they've told no one. You have no idea on how many times they'll lean forward like this. I got to tell you something. I ain't told no one this. I already know it. As soon as they say I haven't told no one, I know it. And my stomach turns because I'm like, fuck, I don't want to hear this. And there it is. So you're right, Spence. It's not talked about. And then it gets exuded in this macho man because you're never going to let no one punk you again. A movie that we will get to soon, and I'll probably have Vic on us when we do this, Moonlight.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Moonlight is literally that story arc, and then, all the chains and stuff and can't talk to no one. And, he's a softer, kind young man and then gets turned to this mega thug, mega gangster. That last scene in that movie will be burned into my head for my entire life. When he's looking at the moon and it's dark out and he's by the water and he just looks back at you. I mean, I was sobbing at that part because it's the innocent child that's inside all of us, but it gets taken away. As Antwone, it was taken away. And then after some love and some therapy and good, healthy relationships, right? It takes a while. It's not going to be 1-2 hour movie. This is going to be a course of, multiple months, probably multiple years to get that real good healing back and good relationships, trust, to where you don't have to have that ride or die gangster right next to you. If someone like looks at you the wrong way, I'll kill you. Right? It takes a while to get that out of your system. I remember one of my boys said, "Knobs, I ain't no bitch. And you trying to make me a bitch." I said, "Okay, that's what I'm trying to do now. So you've been working for me for this long, and that's what I'm trying to do to you. Okay. Well, maybe we stop talking." And then he just looks at me. And then we continue to talk because he didn't fucking say nothing. So then we continue to talk. And I said before he left, "Don't you ever say I'm doing something to harm you. Everything's been in the benefit to help you on this journey. But now I'm not the bad guy here. Don't sabotage me, and now I'm the piece of shit." Right? You're not doing that right now. And I remember when they first fell in love, this human, and then their heart was destroyed because it didn't work out. And I said, "You hate me?" He said, "Why?" "Because I'm the one that made you open up and now you love someone and you got hurt for the first time ever. I never even thought about you." I said, "I just wanted to ask because I know you thought I was messing with you." He said, "No, man, I'm glad I had that. Even though I wish it worked out with baby girl." I said, "Yeah, so do I. But shit happens." It wasn't because they fell out of love, because some stuff happened with the girl. Some bad mental health. And so it tanked. So the relationship tanked because they tanked because, they went through some stuff. It was out of his control and out of her control. So that's what made him feel okay, but still miserable. It's because how can the world fuck you? It rained again? How's it always rain on me? Nah, shit, I don't know. Shit, it rains on me all the time too. I'm just trying to figure it out. I just bought my first umbrella.
What an analogy.
As you get your degree and as you get, some healthy habits and shit, you start to learn that when it rains, you can get a fucking umbrella.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Splitting through this shit.
Yep. A reference to Yondu, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Rest in peace, Yondu.
Ah, Jesus. I forgot about that.
That was a big thing. He died.
I know.
Sorry.
We'll try and get to Moonlight next. So next pod you're on, we'll probably get to that. I want to get to like 2 or 3 scenes and then I can cut it up and then we'll go to the last scene. I feel like that's about it in here when it comes to the trauma and healing. Find you, as Vic said, find you a good therapist that you match with and that holds some of your identities. You don't have to have someone that holds your identities as a person of color or queer, right, socioeconomic status, but it usually makes you feel more comfortable to have someone that has that with you. Obviously, if that person reminds you of someone and it's someone that hurt you, then we need to immediately switch because there'll be too much transference. If I look like your pop or your uncle or your coach, then you need to let me know and then we need to get you to someone else. I'll refer you to someone that I trust. If you're okay with that.
It's funny you say that. I did an intake on a lady last week, and where I work at, they redid our rooms. We don't have offices anymore. We have intake rooms that look like interrogation rooms now.
Oh, that's nice.
So when I walked in, she had like this disappointment look on her face, like, ugh. And I could just tell, like, what's going to be interesting. And it took her, I was probably with her for an hour and 45, which I never take that long for, to do an intake. based on what we do. But halfway through, she started opening up. She became tearful, and she was telling me stuff, and I was just like, finally,
Let's do it.
we broke the ice. We broke the ice. Now I really know why you're here. But sometimes those demographics do apply to certain people, and
Yep.
you have to address that. Is this going to bother you, or can we work through this? Or like Nas said, like, let's find you the right person.
Find the right person. And I'm not a selfish person when it comes to therapy. If I don't know what I'm doing, I'm gonna go ask a bunch of people. And if I can't figure it out, then I'm gonna get you to someone that specializes in that issue, that disorder, that experience. I at the end of my sessions, I'm like, hey, you cool with me? You okay working with me? A big boy, right? Big brown boy. You okay with that, right? Yeah. I said,
Big
you think my
brown boy.
big brown boy now? You like my sense of humor? Okay. What about all the questions I just asked? Did I overstimulate you? No, you're good? Okay, yeah, no, I like you. I felt comfortable in here. Okay. Now if they're like, yeah, man, it was too much, okay, I can lay off the gas. And like we can ease into it. Usually I can pick all that stuff up, but I like to make them feel like they have some choice. Because they do, and I can refer them to one of my colleagues. Boy, whenever I meet people on Zoom for an intake, I'm like, hey, so when you see me in the office, I ain't a little brown white lady now. Like, well, obviously you're not a brown white lady.
Brown white lady.
Oh, sorry. A little white lady. A little white lady.
Little brown white lady.
A little brown white lady. Yeah, that's the ADHD.
I don't know what I am.
I don't know what. How you identify? I identify as bruh.
I'm transracial. All
right. Oh shit, Rachel Dazelle. Shout out.
Shout out.
No, because I'm only therapists are majority white ladies, little white ladies. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, you see me on the screen, I'm brown, but like I am larger than a lot of humans. So if I don't prepare them, the look I get from them, it'd be like, is it the brown one? I'm like, yep, it's the brown one. Like,
it's me.
I can see them
waving at you.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't never get no waves. I get like the immediate like.
I mean, you do the waves, fool.
Oh yeah, me do the waves. Yeah. It's so awkward going to the front room when you don't know them, and I can't read where the shit or like phonetically say any names. I'd be like, Bobby,
Timothy.
Yeah.
Timothy.
Aaron.
Oh yeah, and I work with a lot of international students too, man, and just like our names, Arabic names, Indian names, Asian names, it's tough. I'd be like, who's here for the 2 p.m.? 7 hands go up. When of y'all motherfuckers is here for me?
Nazir? You here for Nazir?
Yeah. No. So here's something funny though. They're usually like, oh yeah, you were big, this and that. I was cool with that. It was fine. If they didn't know me at all, they get a little shocked because, they're expecting a white lady. Surprise, not a white lady. And I've had this conversation with multiple students at the end where we talk about this funny dynamics and how we first met. And they said, you know what, Nas, I was thinking about this, in our last couple sessions is when you come out to get me and then the other white ladies come out to get their students. She said, man, I'm sure I'm glad I got stuck with you. She said, I look at some of them and I'm like, God. This was usually my students of color that say that. And I'm like, I'm glad I got you. I said, I'm glad I got you too. Glad I got you too. Some days it don't rain. Usually in the office, I say, you got stuck with me? You's an unlucky son of a gun. I tell you that, boy. They'd be like, what do you mean? I said, I'm a piece of shit.
I'm about to throw some stuffed animals at you until you leave.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird on how we get matched up with humans, Vic, and even Spence. Like, the world is weird. Like, that they just ended up on your roster instead of someone else's, or someone calls in sick, then I would get a kid that they got, and I'm like, this kid's fucking awesome. Now I'm going to keep them, and then you make friends in random places. And I met you so long ago, Vic, and then it's not like we really talked, and then we linked up at Mike's wedding, and then we talked, and then I seen you do some stuff on Snapchat, and then we talked about BetterHelp, and then now you're doing some of the pods with us. It's just, life is weird.
Very weird.
You don't have to go with the first counselor It's not always like destiny. Maybe it's destiny to dump their ass and get another one. All your choices, they lead to something, I feel like. I don't know. It's weird. Life is weird.
It is. Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. Never know. We wrapping it up, Spence?
Yep. Anything else, Vic, before we go?
No, I think we covered some good content tonight.
Okay. None extra, no extra guac, no extra sour cream.
Always food with you. God,
Shut up.
Another cookie? Like, ooh,
hey, I'm over here eating birthday cake.
You don't want dessert?
Well, all right. Birthday
You know
cake.
what I don't like at restaurants is when they, you want dessert? Of course my fat ass want dessert.
Don't you ever ask me that again.
I just ain't trying to pay for that fucking dessert.
I've never actually seen you eat dessert, though, when they offer it. I've never
It's
seen
expensive.
Because it costs too damn much.
It's like $8 now.
Yeah.
For
I'm
a
gonna
slice
pay
of cake.
$10 for a slice of cake. Get shit out of here.
It was good cake, though.
I'm sure it was. Every time I see it, of course my big ass wants a piece of pie. Why are you? It's $20.
Just bring it here. I'll pay for it. Jesus.
No, it's $20. Man, you can go ahead and bring me some of that diet water. The ice cubes in it.
It's just air.
I gave him 2 pounds.
Can I get the H2O without the H?
Yep. I still end up loaded.
Whoa. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Vicky, for coming on to the show. Really appreciate it. We got guests coming back, folks. It's not just me and Nas this time.
Well, everyone was having babies, so.
That's, you know what?
Congrats, guys.
Yeah. None of us. The fuck?
No.
We're staying away from children for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. So is Dom. She's very sure. Like, all right.
I just got all my stuffed animals.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't get one of those pregnant. Remember.
Well, as much as I bought, they pretty much guaranteed me I'll never talk to another woman again. So
I would love for you to just put that on like a dating profile on your fucking stuff.
I'll just have them lined up like they're a choir.
Never get a date again.
Never. And if I do, they're gonna be weird as shit.
You're gonna be like, yeah, girl, come over here and then look at my stuffed animals.
Yeah. We finally meet them. Stab. Like, yeah, I saw this coming.
All right. On that note, remember to hit those buttons down below. This has been the Different Spectrums podcast. Goodbye. See you later. Do all of it.
Jesus Christ. Please help us out.
Please stop recording.
Oh my God. I'm going to keep recording.